Breaking news! News has just come out that has caused a stir on the web. I'm going to give you all the details firsthand. If you're happy with what the Lions have done so far, click the like button, but if not, comment below what you think needs to change on the team. And don't forget to leave your encouragement for the team with a Go Lions! Now, let's get to some exclusive team updates that you won't want to miss. The Detroit Lions made a move that is causing a stir among the fan base today. Wide receiver Tom Kennedy has been released, but don't panic just yet. The team is potentially preparing for the return of Kalif Raymond, who is dealing with a foot injury. Raymond returned to practice a few weeks ago after suffering the injury during the game against the Indianapolis Colts last month. Although he was ruled out last week, there's still a chance that he could return before the end of the regular season. Raymond, a veteran wideout and former All-Pro punt returner, was a key part of the Lions' special teams unit. His absence left a void, but Kennedy stepped up, handling punt returns and kickoffs during Raymond's time off. Kennedy's experience alternating between the roster and practice squad gave him the flexibility to help out. This season, he appeared in 4 games, contributing 1 punt return and 6 kick returns. Now, while one player is leaving, the Lions are bringing in another familiar face. Defensive back Morris Norris has been added back to the practice squad. Norris was signed to the 53-man roster last week and played 20 snaps on special teams in the Lions' recent win. It's been a year of change for Norris, who spent most of the season on the practice squad after going undrafted and joining the team after the draft. It's good to see the team staying busy, strengthening its depth for the final stretch of the season. Speaking of strength and depth, let's talk about how the offense is shaping up. Tight end Sam Laporta, who had a quiet start to the season, is heating up. Over the past 4 games, Laporta has caught 18 passes for 272 yards and 2 touchdowns. This is the breakout performance many of us have been waiting for after his standout rookie year. Offensive coordinator Ben Johnson has also been impressed with Laporta's progression, noting that it's hard to pinpoint why things haven't clicked before, but the young tight end is finally looking like the player we've all been waiting for. But as we head into Sunday's game against the Minnesota Vikings, we know the Lions' defense will face a serious challenge. The Vikings have one of the most explosive wide receiver duos in the NFL, with Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison posing a deep threat. Our cornerbacks Terrion Arnold and Amik Robertson will be tested on every play. And here's something interesting to keep an eye on. The Lions are tied for the league lead in defensive pass interference penalties with 18, while the Vikings are number 1 in yards gained on pass interference penalties with 328. That's right. Both of these teams have a tendency to draw flags when it comes to pass interference. Coach Dan Campbell is confident, though. He knows his defense is up for the challenge. "We're not worried about it," Campbell said. "We're going to play our style of football. Our DBs are looking forward to this matchup. It's going to be a challenge, but our guys are ready." The physical style of the Lions' defense, especially in man coverage, will certainly clash with the Vikings' offensive scheme. It's going to be a test of wills, but you can be sure the Lions are ready for it. Now, here's something I want to bring up that has everyone talking: the Pro Bowl selections. 7 Lions players received honors, but the lone defensive selection was Brian Branch, who earned his first Pro Bowl bid. Defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn had high praise for Branch, saying he reminds him of himself in his approach to practice and performance. "He's always striving for perfection," Glenn said. "I'm not surprised he's a Pro Bowler. He just wants to be the best he can be." But there's another safety who has been the subject of a lot of conversation: Kirby Joseph. Despite leading the league with 9 interceptions and finishing first among NFC safeties in fan voting, Joseph was snubbed when the Pro Bowl roster was announced. Glenn didn't hold back, calling Joseph a Pro Bowler in my opinion and in the opinion of many around the league. Joseph's reputation for his physical style of play may have turned some heads negatively, but Glenn believes it's precisely that aggressiveness that makes Joseph one of the best in the league. As for the Lions' special teams, we saw a rare mistake last week when an extra point was blocked against the 49ers. Long snapper Hogan Hatton was knocked over on the play, and there was some controversy about whether a penalty should have been called. Special teams coordinator Dave Phipp acknowledged the mistake, saying, "Ultimately, Hogan got caught off guard and that shouldn't happen. It starts with me." He went on to explain that they learned from the error and are ready to fix it moving forward. It's a learning experience, but with the season on the line, the Lions can't afford any more mistakes like this. So, Lions fans, as we look ahead to the Vikings game, there's a lot on the line. The return of Kalif Raymond could add a spark to the offense and special teams, while the defense faces a huge test against the Vikings' star receivers. And with players like Sam Laporta finding their rhythm and the defense ready for battle, the Lions are in a prime position to make a deep playoff run. But I want to hear from you. What do you think of these moves? How do you feel about the Pro Bowl snub for Kirby Joseph? And do you think the Lions are ready to take down the Vikings this Sunday? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. It's been a season full of ups and downs for the Detroit Lions defense, but defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn is standing firm in his belief that this team, even with the injuries that have piled up, has what it takes to win the Super Bowl. With 6 defensive starters currently on injured reserve, the Lions have faced their share of challenges. The pass defense has been especially tough, ranked 31st in the NFL, and they've allowed more than 30 points in 3 of their last 4 games. Yet, despite all of this, Glenn has no doubt that they can still make a championship run. Glenn passionately stated, "You're damn right we can do it. The thing that we have to continue to do is make these impact plays that we've been making, and we're going to continue to do that." And when you think about it, he's right. The Lions' defense has had some significant moments this season, even with the adversity they've faced. Take last week's game against the San Francisco 49ers, for example. They didn't force a punt, but they made 2 critical interceptions in the second half from Kirby Joseph, who now leads the NFL with 9 interceptions. This defense has a knack for stepping up in big moments, and that's something that could be vital in the postseason. Despite the struggles, Glenn is proud of his guys for continuing to make plays when it counts. He pointed to past Super Bowl winning defenses, like the 2000 Baltimore Ravens and the 2009 New Orleans Saints, saying, "Listen, are we where we need to be defensively? Not at all. We understand that. But we're yours. We're making impact plays. At times we need to make them, and I'm proud of our guys for doing that." It's a reminder that defenses don't have to be perfect to win at all. They just need to be clutch when it matters most. And speaking of facing tough challenges, this week the Lions are preparing for a matchup with the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings, under defensive coordinator Brian Flores, have a formidable defense. The Lions have had success scoring on them in the past, but Flores is known for making his defense difficult to break down. Offensive coordinator Ben Johnson has a lot of respect for Flores, noting that the Vikings defense doesn't have many weaknesses. He said, "You can tell that this whole unit, they've been together, they've been playing in this scheme, they have the answers." The Lions will need to be at their best to keep their offense firing on all cylinders against this tough defensive unit. Meanwhile, Ben Johnson is still making waves in the coaching world. He's been a hot name in head coaching rumors, particularly for the Chicago Bears and Jacksonville Jaguars. Despite all the outside chatter, Johnson remains focused on the task at hand with the Lions. He said, "This is exactly where I need to be right now. It's nothing but the Minnesota Vikings right now." Johnson's ability to block out the noise and stay focused on the team is a trait that is invaluable, especially as the Lions push toward the playoffs. On special teams, the Lions had their first blocked extra point of the season in their win against the 49ers. Special teams coordinator Dave Phipp addressed the issue, explaining that teams are increasingly rushing harder on long snappers due to the league's changing stance on penalties. While the block was a rare mistake, Phipp stressed the importance of learning from the experience, and the team worked to fix it during the game. He said, "It shouldn't have happened. I was disappointed. But knowing this team, they'll take that lesson and be better for it moving forward." Now, we want to hear from you, Lions fans. What do you think? Can this defense really step up and lead the Lions to a Super Bowl, even with all the injuries and challenges they've faced? And how do you feel about the matchup with the Vikings this week? Will Ben Johnson continue to outsmart the defense? And can the Lions offense keep their momentum going? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you haven't already, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more Detroit Lions updates. Go Lions!